One magical night, a love I could never forget, rain hammered the slick New York streets like 1,000 desperate heartbeats as I stood shivering under the flickering neon sign of a hidden jazz club in Greenwich Village. My silk dress clung to my body, mascara streaking down my cheeks. But the second our eyes met through the crowded doorway, the chaos froze. He was tall, broad-shouldered, with dark tousled hair and storm-gray eyes that pierced straight through me. A slow, knowing smile spread across his face, like he'd been waiting years for this exact moment. My pulse thundered in my ears. Without a word, he crossed the flooded street, took my cold hand in his warm one, and pulled me inside where the saxophone wailed soulfully and golden lights danced across worn wooden floors. "Dance with me," he murmured, voice low and magnetic, pulling me close until our bodies aligned perfectly. I didn't know his name. I didn't care. For the first time in years, I felt truly seen. But as the song swelled and his lips brushed my ear, he whispered words that stopped my heart. "I've been looking for you for 7 years. And tonight, I'm not letting you disappear again." Heartbeat pulses loudly. Rain intensifies against windows. Saxophone cries. I pulled back slightly, heart racing, searching his face under the club's warm amber glow. "You must have the wrong person," I said, my voice barely audible over the music. But even as the words left my mouth, a flicker of recognition hit me like lightning. Those eyes, that quiet intensity. "Emma Harper," he replied softly, not letting go of my hand. "Little bookstore in Seattle. Summer of 2017. You wore a yellow sundress and recommended the night circus because you said the magic was worth the heartbreak. You wrote a note on the bookmark. For the boy who looks like he carries the weight of the world." My breath caught. The memory flooded back in vivid color. I had been 23 then, fleeing a toxic engagement in Chicago, hiding out in Seattle for 3 months, working at that dusty bookstore to find myself again. He had come in every few days, quiet, thoughtful, always browsing literary fiction. We'd talked for hours once about dreams and second chances. Then I'd left abruptly when my ex showed up, disappearing without a goodbye. "Alex," I whispered, stunned. "Alexander Vale." His smile deepened, eyes softening with something like relief and wonder. "It's me, God, Emma. It really is you." Soft saxophone melody, rain tapping rhythmically on the roof, warm lights casting golden halos before I could process it. He guided me onto the small dance floor. His hand settled at the small of my back, firm yet gentle, sending a shiver up my spine. The other held mine against his chest, where I could feel his heartbeat strong, steady, but quickening, just like mine. We moved together effortlessly, as if 7 years apart had never happened. The scent of his cologne, mixed with rain and the faint smell of aged wood, in the club. "Why now?" I asked, tilting my head up to meet his gaze. City lights from the windows painted patterns across his face. After all this time, he spun me slowly, pulling me back in close. "Life kept happening. I built a tech startup in San Francisco, poured everything into it after you vanished. Thought I'd imagined how perfect that summer felt. But I never forgot. Last month, I found that book in storage, your handwriting on the bookmark. It felt like a sign. I came to New York for business, and somehow ended up here tonight." Every word wrapped around my heart. I hadn't felt this kind of instant connection in years. My life in Manhattan was a grind, marketing executive by day, lonely takeout dinners by night, occasional dates that fizzled into nothing. This felt different. Dangerous, addictive, romantic tension builds, soft piano joins, saxophone. We danced through 3 songs, bodies swaying closer each time. His fingers traced light circles on my back, igniting sparks. I told him about my move to New York, the promotion that felt hollow, the way I still read novels late at night to escape. He listened like every word mattered. His gray eyes locked on mine with an intensity that made my knees weak. Then came the first real twist. A sleek woman in a black coat appeared at the edge of the dance floor, her expression a mix of shock and pain. Alex's body tensed against mine. "Emma," he said quietly, "that's Claire. My ex." My stomach twisted. Before I could respond, she approached, heels clicking sharply. "Alex, we need to talk. Immediately." Her eyes flicked to me coldly. "You didn't tell her, did you?" Tension spikes. Music dips. Rain sounds louder. Alex's jaw clenched. "Not now, Claire." But she turned to me directly. "He's still legally married to me. The divorce papers were never fully processed because of the company assets. He's been dragging it out for months." The words hit like a slap. I stepped out of Alex's embrace, the magic cracking. "Married?" My voice shook. "Separated for almost 2 years, Alex said urgently, reaching for me. "I swear, Emma, it's complicated, but it's over. I was going to explain everything tonight. I just needed one night where it was only us, like that summer in Seattle." Betrayal stung deep. I turned and pushed through the crowd, bursting out into the pouring rain. Cold water soaked me instantly as I hurried down the street, heels splashing through puddles, chest tight with confusion and hurt. "Emma, wait." Alex's voice cut through the storm. He caught up, grabbing my arm gently but firmly, pulling me back from the curb as a taxi sped by. Flashed, illuminating his desperate face. Rain streamed down his cheeks. "Please, 1 hour. Let me explain. After that, if you want to walk away, I won't stop you. But don't disappear again. Not when I finally found you. My heart warred with my head. The chemistry between us was undeniable, the way his touch lingered, the sincerity in his eyes. Against my better judgment, I nodded. 1 hour. Heavy rain, thunder, rumble, emotional strings swell. We ducked into a small, cozy 24-hour diner nearby. The waitress brought hot coffee, eyeing us curiously as we sat dripping in a corner booth. Alex's hands shook slightly as he wrapped them around the mug. I met Claire right after you left Seattle, he confessed, voice raw. I was lost, heartbroken. She was ambitious, part of the tech scene. We moved fast, engagement, building the company together. But it was never right. The love faded into partnership, then resentment. We separated 2 years ago. The divorce is messy because of shares and investors, but it's happening. He reached across the table, his fingers brushing mine. The touch sent warmth flooding through me despite the cold. We talked deeper about his fears of repeating past mistakes, my own scars from the broken engagement. Every few minutes, another wave of emotion hit. When he admitted he'd compared every woman to the memory of me, tears pricked my eyes. The rain eased slightly outside, but inside, the tension and pull between us grew. He paid the bill, and we walked the wet streets again, shoulders brushing, fingers eventually intertwining. In a quiet doorway, he cupped my face and kissed me, slow, deep, filled with years of unspoken longing. My hands gripped his wet shirt as fireworks exploded in my chest. Passionate music crescendo, city lights glowing softly, yet doubt lingered. As we pulled apart, breathless, my phone buzzed. A text from my best friend Mia. Be careful. Just heard Alex Vale's name. His ex is pregnant. My world tilted again. I showed him the message, voice breaking. Is this true? Alex looked devastated. I only found out recently. It's complicated. But Emma, you're the one I want. Please don't run. The night had become a whirlwind of magic, secrets, and raw emotion. As thunder rolled, I realized I was already in too deep. We stood frozen in the rain for a long moment after I confronted him about the pregnancy text. Alex's face was pale, rain mixing with what might have been tears. It's true, she's pregnant, he admitted, voice hoarse. But we were fully separated. She told me 2 weeks ago. I've been in shock, figuring out how to handle it while searching for you. Jealousy and heartbreak twisted inside me. This man I'd just reconnected with carried a lifetime of complications. Yet, when he looked at me with those vulnerable gray eyes, something deeper pulled me in. Tense silence, soft rain, distant traffic, come with me, he said gently. Not to my place, for anything more, just somewhere dry where we can talk properly. I hesitated but followed him to his apartment building a few blocks away. The doorman nodded knowingly as we dripped across the marble lobby. Upstairs, his place was sleek and modern but warm. Bookshelves lined with novels, including a worn copy of The Night Circus. He handed me a soft towel and one of his hoodies. We sat on the couch, knees touching. He opened up completely. The fights with Claire, the business stress, the emptiness he'd felt despite success. You were the last time I felt truly alive, he said, taking my hand. That summer, talking with you about books and dreams, it stayed with me through everything. I shared my own vulnerabilities, the fear of being second choice, the walls I'd built after my ex cheated. As we talked, the chemistry intensified. He tucked a damp strand of hair behind my ear, his fingers lingering. Our second kiss was slower, more exploring, filled with tenderness and building passion. His hands roamed my back as I melted into him, heart racing. Romantic music swells, soft breathing. City hum below, but tension returned around 2 a.m. My phone rang again, Mia confirming details. Claire had been in New York too, trying to reconcile. Alex's expression darkened when I mentioned it. There's jealousy on her side. Yes, but I ended it cleanly in my heart, long ago. We moved to the balcony despite the light drizzle, overlooking the glittering Manhattan skyline. He pulled me against his chest, arms strong around me. I know this night has been a roller coaster. Secrets, exes, a baby on the way. But feeling you here, it's worth every storm. A misunderstanding flared when he took a call from his lawyer. I overheard snippets about paternity and shares, and panic set in again. Are you using me as a distraction? I accused, pulling away. Alex hung up immediately, eyes wide with hurt. Never. Emma, I'm terrified of fatherhood, of failing this child if it's mine, of losing the only woman who's ever felt like home. That's why I need you to know everything. His raw honesty broke something in me. We ended up slow dancing in his living room to a quiet playlist, bodies pressed close, emotions laid bare. He whispered apologies between kisses, promising transparency. Vulnerability mixed with desire created an intoxicating blend. Heartfelt piano, lingering touches, emotional depth. Around 4 a.m., exhaustion and hope led us to his rooftop terrace. Blankets, hot tea, and the emerging stars above. He told stories from the years apart, making me laugh despite everything. I confessed my secret novel. The connection deepened with every shared secret. Then the biggest cliffhanger hit. Claire appeared at the rooftop access door, hand protectively on her stomach, eyes red-rimmed. "I'm sorry to intrude," she said shakily, "but you both deserve the full truth before this goes further. The baby. There's a chance it's not yours. Alex, I made a mistake during our separation." Shock rippled through us. Alex stood, torn between past and present. I felt the ground shift beneath me. The magical night had twisted into something far more complex. Jealousy, potential fatherhood, and a love that refused to let go. Would I stay for the sunrise, or run from the heartbreak? My heart pounded as Alex turned to me, silently pleading. The rooftop revelation hung heavy in the pre-dawn air. Claire stood there, vulnerable in a way that humanized her, while Alex looked shattered. I stepped back, processing the layers of pain, secrets, and unexpected hope. "I didn't want it to come out like this," Claire said quietly, tears falling. "But lying helps no one. I was hurt, lonely. One night the paternity test will confirm soon. Alex, you deserve to know before building something new." Heavy emotional silence, wind across rooftop, soft city awakening sounds. Alex ran a hand through his hair, voice cracking. "Thank you for telling the truth. Whatever happens with the baby, I'll step up if it's mine. But Emma," he turned to me fully, "this doesn't change how I feel about you. You're not a rebound, you're the missing piece." Tears streamed down my face as the emotional roller coaster peaked. We asked Claire for space. She left after a civil goodbye, leaving us alone under the fading stars. Alex pulled me into his arms, holding me tight as sobs racked his body. "I'm so sorry for the mess. But I choose honesty now. I choose us." We talked through the pain for hours. He opened up about his fears of becoming a father under uncertain circumstances, his sacrifices in business, and the grand gesture he'd planned before everything unraveled. Tickets to a book festival in Seattle. Recreating our first meeting. Soft hopeful strings build gradually as the sun rose, painting the skyline in pinks and golds. Clarity came. I realized love wasn't about perfect timing or clean histories. It was about choosing each other through the storms. "I'm scared," I admitted, "but I'm more scared of walking away from this feeling." Alex dropped to one knee on the wet terrace, pulling out a delicate vintage ring with a sparkling sapphire. "This was my grandmother's," she said. "Give it to the woman who brings magic back into your life. Emma Harper, will you take this chaotic, beautiful journey with me? Marry me, not to fix my past, but to build our future." I promised grand gestures, quiet nights with books, and unwavering love. My heart swelled with tears of joy. "Yes," I whispered, then louder, "Yes." He slipped the ring on, stood, and kissed me with passionate relief and love. The city came alive below us as we embraced, a new chapter beginning. Grand romantic swell, warm sunrise lighting. Over the following weeks though, the story of this night felt complete. We navigated realities. Paternity results later showed Alex was not the father, bringing relief and space for healing. He supported Claire platonically as she moved forward. We returned to Seattle together, visiting that bookstore, dancing in the rain again. My novel found new inspiration. Alex proposed properly with family present months later. Our love story became one of redemption, second chances, and deep emotional connection. In the end, that one magical night taught me the most important truth. The greatest loves are the ones you fight for through misunderstandings, pasts, and fears. They leave you breathless, hopeful, and forever changed. As we watched another sunrise years later, Alex whispered, "Best decision of my life." I smiled, heartful. "Mine too." A love I could never forget. Soft, touching music fades. Warm narration echoes some connections, transcend time. One magical night can rewrite your entire story. And this one was ours.